Hey, it's Ryan William with Invisible Fence of Salt Lake City. I hope you're excited to get your new fence installed. We're certainly excited to come put it in for you and to help make your life a little bit easier with your dogs. So I wanted to show you some of the basic stuff that we'll do on install day and just show you the different terrain and how we bury the wire in different areas, garden areas versus grass and so on. So let me show you a few areas at my house so you can see kind of our typical installation. So the most common would be the grass area where we use our machine. We've got this little sod cutter here to kind of show you what it'll look like with our machine. So our blade is not very invasive. It's not like putting sprinkler pipes in. It only goes about 4 inches down, which is just enough to get it under the sod where it's typically safe from lawn aeration. Aerators can hit it, so it's best that you mark it and tell them not to aerate over our line, but most of the time they don't go deep enough to hit our line. And this is about what it looks like when our machine goes. You'll just have a line like this all around your grass areas. There will be more dirt kicked up just because the machine gets it a little deeper than this handheld tool does, and kicks up a little dirt as it does so. But once we're done with the grass areas, we'll come through and we'll stomp on it or run our machine over it, which kind of closes that gap up. And you'll see a little bit of a line, but usually within about 2 weeks, you can't even tell where the wire was put in. In the garden areas where you have wood chips, we will take a garden hoe and make a light trench, get the wood chips out of the way, and put our wire in the bottom of it. Garden staple if we need to keep it down, and then we just brush our wood chips back over the line. It keeps it nice and hidden. So that's all we do there. And we do go under any garden borders. So depending on how deep they are, we'll just dig down underneath them and get underneath them. And if you have concrete borders, typically going underneath is the easiest, but sometimes we will have to go to like where there's a joint already, and we'll just cut through that and put the wires through there. So occasionally we do that as well. In the gravel areas, it's pretty much the same as the garden areas. With wood chips, we just make a trench with a garden hoe, put the wire down in there, and then gravel's heavy enough it just keeps it. We don't usually have to staple, but we just push your rocks back on top and it's nice and secure. Driveway cuts, we go through a joint that's already there. We typically like to use the one that's at least one back from the front so the dogs aren't right up on the sidewalk when people are walking by. Mine goes through right here in this crack, and as you can see, it's all caulked, and we brush the dirt back on it so it blends in nice. You can't really tell we were there. We'll have your utilities marked before we come out so we don't hit anything. The water, gas, electrical, that's all down at least a couple of feet, so we don't get anywhere near that. Comcast is fairly shallow, or internet, and so we'll do by hand over those lines when those are marked so that we don't hit them. Sprinkler lines should be down 12 inches or more. If you installed them yourself or the previous owner did and they didn't get them down deep enough, that is a risk that we're not responsible for, but it's extremely rare. But if you know that that's the case, please let us know beforehand so that we can decide what to do if your sprinkler pipes are very shallow. And then sprinkler heads, we'll watch out and we'll mark those before we start trenching so that we don't break any of those. But those are easy for us to fix. If we accidentally ran one over with a tire or something, we'll take care of that for you, no problem. Landscape lighting. So we will look out for landscape lighting. Typically it's just in the garden beds, and we're doing all that by hand anyways, so we don't break those. If you have landscape lighting running through your lawn, it should be down deep, like a foot or more, like the sprinkler lines. If it's shallow, you're definitely going to want to mark that for us and let us know so that we can do those areas by hand, because we are not responsible for anything like that that's unmarked and not up to code. So just make sure we get those things marked and we're aware of it, and we'll make sure to do a good job doing those by hand. And keep in mind that if we have to do a lot of hand work because of shallow sprinkler pipes or whatever it might be, it could change the install charges. But we'll let you know ahead of time if that's going to be the case. If you have natural growth areas like this, we just run it across the top of the ground and garden staple it as we go. Easy and simple, and it lasts a long time that way, and we never have wildlife damage it. A lot of people worry about wildlife, and we've never had wildlife chew it up or damage it. And scrub oak area, same thing.